Okay, so in the last session we completed wrap implementation, how to load the data into application by using wrap implementation spreadsheet. Okay, so that's what we did. So instead of going with the next topic, the sequence, what we'll do is we'll focus on this FBDI templates, how to load the data by using FBDI templates, the conversion related data, suppliers data and invoices data. When I talk about spreadsheet functionalities, basically we have ADFDI, rapid implementation sheets, or call it as RI. And third option is FBDI, file-based data import. What is the primary difference between these three? Three are spreadsheet related processes. It supports spreadsheet related data process. So what is the difference? When you talk about ADFDI, it is equal to WebADI in EBS. So with this we can just enter the data which you record on daily base. Okay, daily based transactions. And when you talk about rapid implementation, this is for configuration. Okay, just for setup purpose. Setup data you can process through rapid implementation, spreadsheets, RA sheets. And file based data import. These sheets, here also you can find a spreadsheet only. This FBDI, file based data import, we can use for data conversions. And what is the process involved in case of file based data import, that we'll discuss and we'll be executing in the today's session. So any questions from anyone to understand these three concepts, please? Any clarification you required on this, please? So already we just done with these two, right? Already we done with these two. Only this is pending from our side. Yeah, please.
What is the expansion of ADFDI?
ADFDI expansion is application development framework data integrated. Okay, application development framework data integrated. So WebADI in EBS. Fine. So any questions here, please?
That ADFDI exe file we are unable to download from the application.
So that's what I just informed. That's what I informed. These are the sort of demo training instances. It may work, may not work. So that is the reason I shared that file, right? You can use that file. I placed the file in the Google Drive, if you remember. Okay, I placed that file in the Google Drive that you can just take it to your machine and you can install and you can start working on it. If you have any issues, please let us know. We can see. Fine. Any questions on this from anyone, please? If no questions, we can start with the FBDI process to see how we can.
But it's not there in the shared drive.
Invoice into application. Any questions?
But it is not placed in the shared drive.
Sorry?
Please. But it is not placed in the shared drive, Google Drive.
I just
along with the videos.
Somebody removed, not sure. I'll just verify once. If it is missing, I'll just place once again. Okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
Yep.
Lakshman, you mentioned rapid implementation templates can be used to migrate the data, right?
This is the point I written.
Right. How does it work? Like in that case, if we are migrating the data from production instance to test instance, are we saving those files? Like
I'm not talking about one second. I'm not talking about moving the data from one instance to other instance. With the rapid implementation spreadsheets, we can load the configuration data. To move the data from one instance to another instance, we have other option. That is not spreadsheet. That is a different process which we call as configuration packages. That will be covering. We'll see that. It's a simple task. Okay. So
Okay.
not enough
And
related to these three.
okay. And if we need a clone of production instance, that is done through SR, raising an SR with Oracle.
You are right. You are right. You have to raise SR to Oracle. Again, for cloning and all, they do charge some amount. Okay, fine. So ADFDI, right? File. Somebody is saying missing. Okay, I'll see that. Okay. Any other questions, please? These three are spreadsheet related concepts. So this is to enter and import the data into application which we have as a transaction, daily based transactions. Wrapped implementation, this is for configuration into or say setups, and FBDI for data conversions. Okay, fine.
I have one more question on this, Lakshman. So, in rapid implementation, when we are loading the data, let's say we are using one same chart of account, and then we're also using the same um,
Calendar.
calendar. So, in that case, like we don't provide the currency
Correct.
at the time,
Yes.
right?
The same we discussed, right? Yesterday session we discussed that is the point. Okay,
Okay.
if you are going to create multiple, you no need to specify the currency based on the legal entities which you define. It will just pick automatically.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Fine. So now we'll see FBDI process, how to load the customer's data and open invoices. After completing these two topics, we can just proceed in the sequence. We can go one by one to complete rest of concepts. So when we talk about FBDI process, we know how we do the data conversions in case of EBS. We require technical people. So what we do is we'll follow the process of preparing the templates, right? So in case of, so I'll write here. So in case of EBS data conversions, fusion data conversion. When we talk about EBS practice, what we do is we create templates, create data templates. Right? We have to create is we may create or we may just take from the other project and we may modify as per requirement. We create and we get the data. Okay, we collect the data. Let's say collect data. So we create the templates and we'll explain and we'll give it to the business users, and they provide the data in the templates and finally we'll collect it. So these templates will share with the technical. They'll convert into flat files. Okay, they'll convert into flat files or say CSV files. The data templates they will convert into CSV files. Then they'll create staging tables, right? And they do a lot of coding. They do the programming, and finally they'll populate data into staging tables from CSV or any flat files. What are the data available in CSV? With the programming, by writing the coding, they'll just fetch the data from CSV files to staging table. The technical people write a lot of validations. Once data is available in the staging tables, they write some validations. After passing all the validation, the records which will pass the validation, those they populate into interface. populate data into respective interface. If it is a supplier's data, supplier open interface, payables invoices data, payables open invoice interface, respectively. So they populate the data into interface tables. Finally, we'll import the same data, import data into base tables. This is just a job program which we can run. Here, without technical effort in EBS, we cannot do the data conversions. Okay, so staging table, right, fetching the data from files to staging and writing the validations. Okay, so bringing the data into staging tables and writing the uh, validations and finally populating the data interface. For this, complete programming is required. Okay. But in Fusion, if you are going to do the data conversions, what process we follow will say. In case of EBS, we have to create the templates. But in case of Fusion, you no need to create the templates. All templates Oracle is providing. Simply we have to go and download the template. Download templates from Oracle OER. OER stands for Oracle Enterprise Repository. Okay. From Oracle OER, we have to download the templates. We'll see that. After downloading, we have to collect the data. That is a common task. Collect data from business. We'll provide the templates to business users. We'll explain that meaning of each and every column within the template, and we collect the data from business. After that, we no need to share with any technical team these templates which are ready with the data. Just we can convert the template into CSV files. We can do that. So simple task. Create data templates into CSV files. Okay, create data files, create CSV file. Just says create CSV files from data templates. The data templates you can convert into CSV. After converting, so basically after converting CSV, what technical team do in case of EBS, they create staging tables. With the programming, they'll be moving the data from CSV to staging. Equal to staging tables, here we have UCM in Fusion. Okay, so once the templates are converted to CSV files, we can upload the CSV files into UCM. UCM already we discussed as a part of Fusion architecture, right? UCM stands for Universal Content Management. So data exports and imports, we can use it. Here OER means Oracle Enterprise Repository. Fine. So we download the templates from OER and we collect the data from the business by sharing the same templates. Once we get the data in the from the business, the templates you can convert into CSV files. Okay, create CSV files from data templates, and we upload CSV files into UCM. After uploading the data which is available in those templates, the data we have to populate into interface tables. Say populate data into interface table. Okay, populate data in interface tables. After populating, in case of EBS, that has to be done through programming. Okay, but here simple one program we have to submit, that's all. Once data is populated in the interface table, we can import data into base tables. Okay, no technical work. No technical task is involved to perform the data conversion. The same process is applicable for any conversion related data. The same is applicable for suppliers, open invoices, the payables. If you take receivables, open transactions, customers, assets data, journals data, same process we follow. Download the templates, prepare the data, convert into CSV, upload into UCM, populate the data into interface, and import the data into base tables. Okay, we'll go and see this process now. We'll go and download the supplier template and we'll follow this process. So when I talk about suppliers, okay, when I talk about suppliers, we have a so when we create the suppliers, we follow different steps, right? Supplier creation, address creation, site creation, the site assignment. So similar to that, we have a different templates also. If you want to do the data conversion for suppliers, we have a different template. For suppliers, we have one template as supplier import, then supplier addresses. We have a separate template. Supplier sites, we have a separate template, and supplier site assignments. Site assignments. And if you want to have a supplier's contacts and all, we have a separate templates, but these are the primary templates which we can use to load the data into application. Okay. First, we have to load the supplier data, which is equal to supplier header information or say supplier profile. Then all the supplier addresses we have to load. After loading the addresses against the addresses, we have to load the site information to application. Then finally we have to assign that site to specific business unit. Assign site, template name is supplier site assignments. Okay, first we'll go and download the templates, and we can find the sample data in every template that we can remove, and we can prepare the data and we can convert into CSV, and we'll follow this rest of process. Okay, fine. Now simply you can just go to Google and search with the term called as Oracle OER, Oracle OER. So you can find Oracle Enterprise Repository for Oracle Fusion applications. Okay, you just search with this keyword and you can find this link. Just click on this. So we are working on financials, but when I talk about suppliers purely the source of procurement. Okay, as a part of process, we just use the suppliers for invoice and payment, but basically the supplier, we start dealing with the supplier from the procurement side only. So that is the reason that templates are available in procurement only. Okay, so if you go to financials, within the financials you don't find any supplier related templates. Okay, supplier templates you can find under procurement section. Just go to procurement. Now which version we are using? Okay, which version instance we are using? The templates are available version specific. Okay, based on the version you have to download the templates. We are using release 13 version. Okay, just click on release 13. See here, once you go to this procurement, under that you can see file based data import templates, and version you have to select. If you are working on release 12, you can go select release 12, and release 12 related templates would be available. There won't be any great difference between version to version within the templates. So most of the everything remains same. There could be very one or two fields additionally they added, some based on the future how that impact for the respective data. There could be very minute changes, but template level you don't see big changes. Fine. Anyway, we are working on release 13. Select version as release 13. Just click on release 13. Okay. So here you can go with this. procurement. There we have that. This simply changed, I guess. Okay. So the navigation path they changed. Earlier it was same as 12 only. Seems to recently they changed. Anyway, we'll see that process how it is. What the navigation path available. Okay. Under procurement, go to release 13. Click on release 13, and now you can go to use. Okay, and within that we have a manage integrations. It may be for integration purpose or direct loading purpose, whatever you want to do. You can find the templates here. Get started with the file based data import. Click on that. These templates we can use for manual loading process, as well as if you want to automate the same process, you can do it. Whatever the process manual we are going to do, that can be automated, okay, to bring the data from third party applications. So file based data import for Oracle Procurement Cloud. Here we have a templates related to suppliers. So primary templates are supplier and supplier addresses, supplier sites, supplier site assignments. Rest of product services and the attachments and all core related to procurement not required. We can download these templates. So I'm going with right click to open the new tab to download the supplier template and supplier addresses. Right click, say open a new tab. We'll open in the different tabs so that we can download all. So supplier sites, open in the different template tab, supplier site assignments. Okay, now just the four template related tabs we opened: supplier, supplier addresses, supplier sites, supplier site assignment. Now we'll download those templates. So here you could see this template, XLSM template. Okay, and if you want to load this template data into application, this is the job name we have to use. By submitting import suppliers, you can load the data. This template you can import into application. The interface table is POZ supplier agent interface. Okay, the supplier import process explained. You can just look into that. You can click on that. They'll provide you the details. Okay, the process explained. This they are showing as a help from application itself, the normal online help. So the process explanation you can see here. Okay, which tables will impact, how it works, everything you can see here. Fine. Now first we have to download the templates. We'll go and download these four templates: supplier template, addresses, sites, and site assignments. How to download the template? To download the template, you have to right click on this link. If you directly click on that link, system won't download. Okay, you have to right click and say save link as. You will go and create the separate folder. Okay, through that folder within that folder we can maintain these templates. We can just create the folder as a Google suppliers FBDI. You can save this file template into this folder. Save it. Okay, done. So now we can go to supplier addresses. Right click, say save link as. So already supplier import template is downloaded. Now we are going to download supplier addresses import template. Save it. Go to sites, download site template. Right click, Save link as. Save into same folder. Now you can go to site assignments, supplier site assignments. And here, supplier site assignment template. So save link as. So save. Fine. So if you notice, for each template data we have a separate job which we have to submit. For suppliers, import suppliers job we have to submit, and for addresses, import supplier addresses. For sites, import supplier sites. For site assignments, import supplier site assignments. These are the relevant jobs we have to submit when we are loading the data into application based on the template. When done. So now what we have to do is we have to prepare those templates with the data. Okay. First we'll go and prepare the data for suppliers template. So we have here for the folder. Now we can just open this template. Supplier import, nothing but supplier profile or header information. Just open this. So any message, say yes. So here we have the first one, like the first tab is instructions under CSV generation. Here you can go through that instructions what Oracle says when you are loading the suppliers data into application. You can read this information. You can understand more about this process, how it works. Okay. So go to this POZ supplier INT interface sheet. Okay, here we can see the sample data. Okay, you can see the sample data. Here we have one tab called as show additional attributes. You can click on show additional attributes. The hidden fields also system will open. If any hidden fields are there in this template, it will open, which are additional attributes. Since we have a sample data, we can click on show additional attributes. So we can remove all these supplier records except one. Sample data, just for sample information they provided, you can remove except one record, one supplier. That just we can use for reference purpose. So batch ID, when we load the suppliers information to application, so there is one column called as batch ID. Here the star marks indicates required. For batch ID is not mandatory, ignore it. And import action, we are going to create supplier. Existing suppliers you can update from here also. So we are going to create new supplier. What is the supplier name? The supplier name you can specify here. Okay, say Google FBDI supplier. We'll give the name as a FBDI supplier. And supplier name number. Supplier number is not mandatory. No need to provide through manual process. So we have a task called as specify supplier numbering, right? That already we done. So whenever you create the supplier through manual process or loading process, system follows that number to assign the number to supplier. Okay, or else if you want to provide the number here, you can provide so that this system will override, okay, that number generation with this number. System will give the priority to this number only. It will ignore the running sequence within the application. Okay, not required number, let system take automatically based on that setup. What are the other fields columns we have? Tax organization type, yes, corporate. Supplier type, supplier, it's not mandatory. And business relationship, select as a spent authorized. So this sheet is equal to the task which you perform in the application here. So within the application, to create the supplier, what we do, go to this suppliers. Say create supplier. So here, whatever the information we provide, when in case of manual process, the same information you can provide in that sheet, but you can find many columns in that sheet. Based on these fields which you provide, if you say create, system will create the record and system defaults information, that all the fields you can see in this supplier import template. Okay, so you can go through other columns which are related to supplier header. Okay, so what are the information we may not require, that you can remove it. Supplier header level, if you want to set the payment method, you can specify the payment method check, so that system will mark check as a default payment method. Just go through other columns also. So DFF related information. So verify any sample data is available within this template. If you find, remove it. If you think you want to add some additional details based on the respective column, you can add it or modify it. Just verify, because every template which we download will have a sample data. So that is the reason, just verify all the columns. Find no additional data. We have whatever we entered, only we have that. So batch ID is not required. Import action is create. Okay, supplier name we given as Google FBDI supplier, and tax organization type is corporation, business relationship is spent authorized. That's all. Now this template we have to convert into CSV file. So that's what we discussed here, right? First we download the file. Yes, downloaded. We collect data. Instead of collecting, we prepare data just now. Next step is we have to create the file. Okay, CSV file based on the data template, right? We'll convert the file into template CSV file. Okay, this template will convert into CSV file. To convert into CSV file, go to tab called as instructions under CSV generation. Here we have a tab, generate CSV file. Just click on generate CSV file. System will create CSV file and it will take into zip file. The CSV file, it will automatically take into zip file. So this you can save in our folder. Save into folder. So on CSV file also system is creating. So confirmation is CSV and zip file have been created. Say okay. Now go to our template, our folder. Here you can notice POZ supplier interface. So zip file system created, and it created CSV file also, .csv. CSV file it created. You can just open and see. This is a CSV file. The data it is taken in this format, and the same CSV file, whatever you can see, that is placed into zip file also. You can see here. The same file is placed into zip file. Finally we can load this zip file only into our application. Direct CSV file you cannot upload. The system creates two CSV files. One file it will place into zip file, other file it will create outside of the zip file. There is no use of this file. Okay, no use of this file, but just system will create two copies. Finally this is the one which we have to load into our application. We'll see that. Fine, we created a file. Okay, so we created a file. What is the next step? We have to load that CSV file into UCM. Which CSV file? The CSV file which is there in the zip file. That file we have to load. We have to load that CSV file into UCM. We'll see how to load the file into UCM. To load the file into UCM. Any question?
Yeah, Lakshman, I have one question on the file we just created. So in EBS, as we know, like, if we are bringing doing a data migration, or if we are bringing the supplier data, we can bring some attributes, and then we can write a custom validation to make sure, okay, if if field A is provided, then attribute 1 must be provided before we load the
Okay.
data into staging or
That sort
interface
of
tables.
one second, one second. That sort of validations you cannot write here. Okay, this is a cloud case, so cloud environment you cannot. These are the templates which Oracle provides. Otherwise, you can have other mechanism where you can write the validations outside of the system that you can just bring into the system by using the SOA middleware. In the middleware, you can use SOA where there we have a integration options. Through that, you can bring it within this process. Whatever we are doing, just a spreadsheet, we are mentioning keeping the data that directly we are loading into application. Within this application process, we cannot write any validations. We cannot do that. Okay, so you cannot write any additional validations. All the predefined validations are written by Oracle. Within that validations only the data will validate it and you can execute this process. Those validations you cannot write here.
Okay.
Yep. So to place that file, to load that file into UCM, you can go to the navigator. Under tools, you can find one task called as file import and export. Click on file import and export task. Okay. Here you can click on upload. Browse that file. So this is the file POZ suppliers int interface. Browse it. And this file we have to place in the UCM in the respective account. Okay, in UCM you can have a different accounts for each application. Based on the data you can have accounts you can place in the specific account. Here this file we have to place in the PRC suppliers import. PRC procurement. Look for account called as PRC supplier import. Here is the account name, PRC procurement suppliers import. Then say save and close. Now the place is file is placed in the UCM. Okay, the file is placed in the UCM. Now the next step is we have to populate the data into interface tables from this UCM file. To do it, we have to run one separate job. Okay, we'll go and see how to do it. Okay, populate data into interface table. Okay, fine. Now just we have to populate the data into interface table. So for that we have to submit one job. Go to ESS job page, enterprise scheduler service, call it as schedule process. Go to schedule process task. Click on schedule new process. The job name is, search with the term called as load interface. The name is load interface file for import. So that job we have to submit. What it will do is it will pick the file and the file data it will upload populate in the interface tables. So this is a job name, load interface file for import. Select and say okay. You can see the description what this job will do. It transfers setups or transaction data file from a user specified location to interface table. Now we are going to specify that file. Within the file whatever the data we have, that it will transfer to interface tables. Okay, job name is load interface file for import. Say okay. Now we have to select the same file as a parameter, and as we have seen the process name here, import suppliers we have to select. The time of supplier data template download we have seen schedule process name is import suppliers. This import suppliers we have to select as a parameter. Now import process which we are importing suppliers data, so import supplier, select import suppliers as a import process name, and where we have that suppliers data, select the data file. So which we loaded, you can see here directly. POZ suppliers int. This is the file we loaded. Whatever you put
Lakshman,
here,
funny here.
that you can find here.
Sorry.
Please.
Yeah, Lakshman, like in EBS, like whether it is for supply or for transaction, we have the concept of conversion interface. Okay, the conversion a one-time activity, and the interface like we used to schedule it on a daily basis. So in cloud, where if we have to place the files in the server by doing this manual job, how can we schedule just like interface in EBS?
Sorry.
I'm talking about the concept of interface in EBS. Okay, so it is like daily transactions, or whenever there is a supplier file in the Unix box, we can schedule the concurrent program, right?
Yes.
In cloud, the same thing in cloud. When we have to upload the files manually, how can we schedule the interfaces in cloud?
Yeah, the same jobs you can schedule. Like whatever you are submitting, those you can schedule.
No. Here there is no concept of Unix box, right? So files we have to upload manually. So how do we place the files from the source system into the server?
For that you have
That we cannot schedule,
Yeah,
right?
I got your question. SOA, service oriented architecture. Within that, we have integration work areas. From there, you can do the mapping, third party application mapping. You can do from there itself. You can keep the scheduling, the sequence, how it has to run and all. Okay, that you will be doing from SOA, which we use for integrations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, through SOA you can do that. Okay, it could be batch process or online process. Okay, how the data has to be uh, taken from third-party system, and how it can be moved into our respective target application, respective process or tables, whatever. You can just do that through cloud integrations, which can be possible through middleware.
So Lakshman, in that case, we would need technical help, or is that a functional person?
That is a technical task, technical work. So you should have a SOA expert into your team. They can help you to do that integrations. But as a traditional data conversion, which we do in EBS, the same can be done by functional people. This is a process. Okay, whatever we're discussing. Okay, fine. So now we are just submitting that process. Just click on submit. Now the suppliers data will be populated into interface tables.
Lakshman?
Yeah. Yeah, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes.
This program would pick up the file from that location, right? So if there are multiple files submitted by other users, even that data would get loaded, right?
Only one file we can select as a parameter, right? Just now we did.
You selected the
Only one which we loaded.
file name or the location?
No, not location. Once you select process name, import supplier, that's how it will connect to the account. The supplier account, whatever the file we have, it will display.
Okay, suppose like there are two users who have loaded two supplier files separately without knowing. So all of them will get processed, right? Even the other user is running the request.
Say two consultants place two files in UCM, the same account, PRC suppliers import. That any user can find those two files. Normally when you do conversion, we don't do it with multiple files. Only one person will do, or with some coordination people will be doing. So if that is the case, they can give the separate names for that. When you are saving that zip file into the folder, you can give the name. Okay, supplier import file 1, file 2. That's how you'll be able to identify.
Okay.
Yeah, by default system will take as a POZ supplier import dot zip, right? So we can change the name while we save. So that's how we can easily identify. So done.
Okay. Can we see the
Yeah, please tell me.
Can we see the parameters that we submitted in here by clicking?
Yeah, we'll see. Just now we completed, right? Two parameters. One is
Okay.
process name, other one is file name. We'll see again.
Okay.
We'll be submitting for addresses, right? Sites, site assignments. They're also same parameters.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, fine.
Like EBS, we cannot open and see the parameters that we submitted.
Yes, process is totally different. We don't do it. The technical team will do this task. Okay, it's a totally different. The approach, the way how we do it's different. Okay, it's a completely functional process. So that is the reason the parameters we have where we can specify in the just so predefined process.
Okay, no. What I'm asking is, once you submit the request in EBS, you can see in the form, you can see the parameters. You click on the parameters, you can see. So here, after I submitted the request, can I see what exactly I submitted?
Okay, here you can just the details it will show here. So wait,
Okay, that's what I wanted to check.
all. You can see here parameters. It's not showing all. Basically, it will display the parameters here. If you click on that, you can see that. Okay, fine. Now, as we discussed, so data system populated data into interface tables. Now we have to bring that information to base tables. If you want to see what data we have in the interface tables, we have to write the query. Okay, so the data would be available in this interface table as I mentioned. So this is a table. Within the table, you can find the data. You can just see what are the columns we have within the table. If you click on that table name, it gives some technical reference related to the table. But anyway, we are going to see how to query the data from specific table as a part of BA report definition, simple report definition. At the time we can understand. Okay.
Lakshman, in EBS, we were able to see the data from the front end once the data is in interface. Can we do the same thing here in cloud?
Here we don't have that option. For a few processes they given, say open invoices. When we are loading the open invoices, they given the spreadsheet functionality where you can connect to the open interface tables and it displays the data, whatever the data is available in the open interfaces. Okay. Tables, open invoice interface tables, it will show, but for suppliers they are not giving any option here, the table related information. Okay, only the option is we have to go and write a query by using the BA report, BA catalogs, saying that select start from so and so table, specific columns or all columns. Okay, that's how you can get the data that you can take into report output. That's how you can take into your analysis or for understanding. Here we don't have separate option to see directly. For payable invoices we have. Once data is available in the interface, you can go and see from front end. Okay, but suppliers, no. Only you have to write SQL queries to see the data which is there in the interface. Okay. We are going to
Lakshman, is there a validation done in the interface table, and if anything fails, what's the mechanism to reverse it?
Okay. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to get the data into interface, right? We are trying to get the data into interface. If something is wrong with the records, that system won't accept to take into interface. Here you can see these programs also will end with errors and all. You can just look into output file. The output file will give the complete information what's wrong with your file's data. Okay, so you can go on to correct in the file, what are the file you have here. This file, within the file you can just correct this information. Again you can generate one more zip file, CSV files. That file you can load into application.
Okay. So if it means that if the data is already made to interface table,
Yeah,
the data is good.
already
There
it's
won't
there
be
in the
any issues
interface.
after that.
Yeah, yes, it's already is there in the interface. You'll come to know that issues when you try to import into base tables. When you try to import into base tables, the data which is there in the interface level may be okay. Say for example, you are loading some data, say that is related to invoice. You have a payment term. You have a payment term, say interface level, say payment term is mandatory. Yes, the value is there. But when you try to import that invoice into AP from interface to base tables, so the same payment term is not defined in the payables. That is the time where that record will fail. In that case, the data will remain in the interface only. You can access to the interface. Within the interface, you can modify the data and you can submit for import. Or else you can remove the records from the interface. You can correct in the actual file only, and from there again you can load into interface. From there you can import it to base tables. But general
Okay,
practice,
understood.
we correct in the interface level and will import.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Fine. So now the next
So
task
Lakshman,
is,
is it
please.
Lakshman, quick question: is it like even one record fails to load into staging interface table? Is it reject the whole file or partially loads?
It rejects the entire file. The entire file level will do the correction and will submit it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Lakshman, is the data only validated at the point when it's moving from interface to base tables, or is it
So
from
two levels.
staging to
Two
interface
levels
table?
data would be validated. So in the interface level, we know like when you load any record, there will be certain validations in the interface level, right? So and so fields are mandatory. That data has to be provided and all. The template level, you say I can find the fields like mandatory, but I may not provide. But when it goes to interface, the validation will come into picture where the field should be mandatory. That's how the validation, certain validations you can see at the interface level itself. And from there when you are importing again that the based on the data definitions which has a dependency for that relevant validations will come into picture. Two levels we have, but no validations for the data when data you place in the template. Any data you can enter in the template, but once the data record will go and hit to interface, few validations will come into the picture, as the data should be in the so and so format. Data, this field data should be only in the number or only in character. Okay, or just it should be, the field should be mandatory. Such kind of validations will come into picture at the time of interface. And when you are importing from interface to base tables, rest of validations which are required all will come into picture. Okay, two levels we have. Only in template level no validations, but the templates are written with the validation. Okay, that's how it works. You can give any data, it will accept, template will accept. Fine. Now we have to import data into base tables which is available in interface level. Okay, for that you can just refresh this navigation. So without refreshing this navigation, if you click on submit new process, sometimes it will be defaulting whatever the job you submitted previously. Even if you change and if you run, it won't work most of the times. That is the reason to submit one more job, you can refresh this navigation, then that will work fine. So schedule processes. Now say submit new process. Which process, what we are trying to import? Suppliers. So job name is import supplier. Job name is import suppliers. Select this job. Say OK. Say submit. Now system will import that supplier header record into the base table, and and the same process is applicable for all. So now you could see the status has succeeded. That means now you can find the supplier in our application. Okay, go to suppliers. Now what are the supplier we created? The supplier we created without address. That means incomplete. That within this dashboard, once you navigate to supplier, within this dashboard in the bottom you can see that. See, suppliers with incomplete setup, no address. See, our supplier is falling under no address supplier. Yes, that is true. We didn't provide any address, just we loaded supplier only. You can find from here or else you can search and find from here. Manage suppliers, system loaded supplier into application. So here Google FBDI, right? This is how we given the name. You can see the profile is created. When this is a creation source is import, which is imported through FBDI template. So it's processing. Wait for a second. Yeah. What happened? It's fine. It's hanged. Okay. Now you can see that supply definition, what system created, and we just specified check in the template level. That means that should get defaulted here. It should select as a default. So it's marked as a default based on the inputs which you provided in the template. Now no address for the supplier. Okay, no address for the supplier. Now we'll go and we'll just prepare the template for addresses. Fine, done. Now next template. So supplier address import template. Open this template. Here also you can find the sample data. You can remove the records except one. Click on show additional attributes. Batch number is not mandatory. Import action. What we want to do, we want to create the supplier address. So we want to create the address for which supplier. Take that supplier name. This is our supplier name. For this supplier we want to create the address. Provide supplier name. Address name. Say FBDI address. Okay, FBDI address. And you can provide this information, city, state, all these details, your postal code, everything you can provide. For that, to take the reference of that information, you can go to addresses, click on create. Reality we are not going to create, just to take the reference information we are opening this function. Select postal code. We will take as a reference information and we'll close this, we'll cancel this. Okay, so postal code you can take into spreadsheet. Then the county, and other details, state, city, the city name and state. Okay, done. We given the required fields for address and other columns you can go through. Phone extension. So you can specify here. You could see if you are creating manual process, this address purpose for what? Ordering, remit to RFQ bidding. Same we have here. So what purpose this address you are defining, that you can select. Ordering, yes. Payment purpose, yes. So there is some additional value for DFF that you can remove from the sample record. Verify all the columns. Fine, done. So import action is create. So before that we are clicking on just show additional attributes. Then import action is create. We want to create address against which supplier, that address name we have to take, that should match exactly what name we have in our application already. So address name is FBDI address, and the detail address information here we given city, state, all the details, and address purpose also we specified. Right, this is the purpose we given. Done. Now we can go and generate the CSV file. So if you think there are multiple files getting generated in the application process, for this you can prefix your name, Google. Google POZ supplier addresses INT interface. Save into our folder. Okay, CSV, it will generate the CSV file. So okay, done. Now close this. Now we can load into the application. Same process. We are not creating address. I am cancelling this. No address. Now we are going to load it. So what process we discussed? Download template, collect data, create CSV file, create CSV file from the template, then place the file into UCM and populate data into interface and import data into base table. This step you can bypass also. Upload CSV file into UCM. Without uploading, when we are trying to populate the data into interface by running the load interface file for import process, see here, when you go to load interface file for import, what are the files are available in UCM, those system will display. But in the process of populating data in interface, directly you can browse the file into this import process, load interface file for import. Into that process parameter you can browse the file. Okay, so we have seen like how to load and how to select, but now without loading into UCM, how to select that file as a parameter also we'll see now. So you can, the first step is, okay, so basically here we uploaded file into UCM, but without uploading directly you can go with the populate data into interface tables. For that you can go to schedule processes, click on schedule new process, say load interface file for import. Just say okay. We are loading supplier addresses, right? For supplier addresses, what is the job we have to submit? Import supplier addresses. So here you have to select import supplier addresses. Let's type it's not fetching, we'll go manually. So import supplier addresses, this is a job. Now to use data file. If you upload the data file in UCM, that you can find from LOB, but we didn't upload. Okay, so if you are not uploaded directly, you can upload from here. So upload a new file, browse where we have that file in our template. select here. Done. Directly you can upload into this process parameter also. Otherwise you have to download into UCM. What is the file available in the UCM, you can select from here as a parameter. If that is not available in UCM, directly you can browse and select for this parameter. Say submit. Now this data would get populated into respective interface table. The next step would be importing the data into base tables. Fine, done. Now just refresh the navigation. You can see the status has completed, succeeded. So now we'll submit the job to import the data from interface to base tables. So that system will create the supplier address. The job name is import supplier addresses. Import supplier addresses. Say OK. Click on submit. Okay, import supplier addresses. It ended with error. Let's see what is the reason. So go to this report PDF. It gives the message. What is the reason? It failed. Supplier address not imported 1. What is the reason? Interface ID just the rejection reason. The value is required. You must provide a value attribute called as country. Okay, we forgot to add the country in the spreadsheet. That's what. Fine. I think we have that. The file we can do one thing. Then again, just will prepare it. We can do one thing. So here, country USA we have here. Basically, don't take USA. You have to take US. US you have to take. There is no value like USA in the application. So before this we have after address name, right? Address name we have. 1 second, we'll verify within the CSV file level. If you can do some changes, we'll do it. This is CSV file. Create address. After address, you can enter US here. You can just enter like this. So now here you can notice the sheet. You can find out if you open this template address import. So next to address only show additional attributes. Okay, address name and this name. Okay, it's gone. Then fine, we'll just quickly will enter that information. So again we have to give one space and we have to enter if that is the case. Again how it will take, we're not sure. Better we can just enter once again. So create supplier name is supplier name. and address Google FBDI address. The country you should select as US only, not USA. Address line number 1 optional, you may enter US address. The data we can take from here, the fields data. From CSV file it is available, right? This is the postal code. So county, state, city. Done. Now just go through other columns. Data which is not required you can ignore. Ordering, yes. Payment, also say yes. Now generate new CSV file. Go into same as a new. Verify file is generated or not. Yes, the file got generated. Oh, it didn't take any information to this. So we'll remove this. CSV file. We'll remove this. It's already files are open, so it's not accepting. No issues. So just remove. So previous file what we generated, just we are removing. That's all. Now whatever zip file we generated, we can also remove. Okay, fine. Now just we have a supplier address import template with the data, right? So whenever you submit to convert into CSV, it will be adding additional tab that you can remove now. Again, we'll submit that. It ended with error. Now this is the actual template, and we provided data, right? We provided data, and these are the details we given. Done. Now here, US address. And this is the record we have. Supplier address we have. Now go to CSV generation. Just say generate, and this name you can give as a maybe new. Save it. Save CSV file also. Done. Now we can follow the same process. Should work. Earlier we forgot to give country. Now you can again you have to submit load interface file for import. Then finally we'll submit import supplier addresses. Load interface. So if it is an invoice related process, you can go to interface. There you can add the country name. If the value, the parameters belongs to invoice, you can do that. But in case of suppliers, we don't have that process. So import supplier addresses. Data file, we have to browse. So new POZ supplier addresses. Say OK and submit. Say OK. Still it is running. Load interface file for import process. Yes, now it's completed. Now again you can refresh the same navigation to submit next process called as import supplier addresses job. Now we have a proper data within the template, so it will, it's not responding. Fine. Schedule new process. The job name is import supplier addresses. Submit. Okay, now we can go and find the address against this supplier. Done. Succeeded. Now you can go to supplier definition. Now here you don't find that supplier now. Okay, that supplier you don't find under incomplete definition because here with no address. No address you don't find it. With the no site you can find it, but no address. Already address we added just now, right? So go to manage suppliers. Our supplier name is Google FBDI. Click on edit. If you go to addresses, you can see the address for this supplier. Google FBDI address. You can click on edit and you can see the detailed information how we provided in the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet we given, right? Purchasing, ordering, and do pay as a SV set, so it's enabled and the same address is created. So that's how we can add the address. Now we can create the site for this address. If you want to create the site, we need address name in the template. Find this process, so we can see in the tomorrow session. Or it won't take much time. Within 10 minutes we can complete. Okay, our supplier name is this. We'll make a note of this information. Supplier name, address name also required when you create the site, and we require our business unit also. Fine, done. So now we'll go and create the site. Before that, we'll just take the BU name. What exactly BU name we have, we can take it. You can take as it is, you can copy and paste. So to create the site, this information is required. Which is supplier, against which address you want to create. BU and all assignments time, it's basically it's required. Assignment time that is required. So now it's fine. So now go to this folder and open supplier sites related template. So here we have template supplier site import template. Open this template. You can find the sample data. You can remove this one record. You can proceed with other records. Say show additional attributes. So batch ID is not mandatory. Import action is we are going to create the supplier site. So we want to create the supplier site for which is supplier or supplier name. You can select, provide it. So for which procurement business unit you want to create this address. So provide our business unit. Address name, against which address you want to create the site, against this address. Okay, what name you want to give for your site? FBDI site. Okay, just you can look into the other columns. So pay is required as yes, that will default from the site itself. Primary pay, if you want to set, you can set it up. Communication, no, not required here. Email communication. So just go through all the columns. If you think some information is required, you can keep as is, or else you can remove everything. Payment terms, if you want to set default, you can select. Just go through all the columns. Done. No additional data we have. So primarily here we just selected columns like import action as a create, then supplier name for which a supplier site we want to create belongs to that address is going to belongs to which business unit, and what should be the site name, right? So here address name and all we have, the address name and site name and purpose of that site. Okay, these details we given. Now the process remains same. I have to generate the file and we have to load and import. So I generate CSV file. So POZ supplier sites. Here we can give as a Google. There could be some other files also which are loaded by the guys who are practicing in this instance. Save this file. It will generate the CSV file. Save it. Done. Now just submit load interface file for import process. Okay, load interface file for import. Say okay. Import process. What data we are trying to import? Address sites. Say import supplier sites. It's not fetching even if you enter. We'll select through manual process. So import supplier sites. Data file. We have to browse. We have to select. Go to upload new file. Click on browse. Here we have a Google POZ supplier sites interface related file. Save OK and submit. Click on submit. Say OK. So now the process will populate the data in the interface. Now if you want to import the data into base tables, just refresh the same navigation. Click on schedule new process. The process name is import supplier sites. Select import supplier sites and say OK and submit. Now you can find the site against our supplier. Say Google FBDI. Now if you go to sites, you can find the site. Site is created. Site name is FBDI site. That also will take into this note. Assignment time that is required. So created FBDI site. Now we'll go and assign this site to business unit. If you verify site assignments, no site assignments. The site is not assigned to any BU. That will do from template itself. Okay. So go to this templates and here you can find supplier site assignments import template. Open template. Say show additional attributes. Remove sample data records except one. Create, yes, action is create. For which supplier site you want to assign to specific BU. That supplier name is, we have everything in the spreadsheet, you can take from here. The Google FBDI supplier site we want to assign. This supplier site, this supplier related. And what is the site name? FBDI site. I want to assign to which BU that is belongs to which BU, Google US Business Unit. Client BU to which BU you want to assign, build to BUs. Same. Ship to build to default locations not required, remaining not mandatory, that's all. Now you can generate the CSV file and just mark it as a Google. Sorry. It's gone. Google site assignment.gif. Same folder. Save CSV also. Done. Now we'll go and load that file into application. Same process. Go to schedule process. Submit load interface file for import. Which import process we have to use? The data is related to, the data is belongs to what, accordingly how to select the import process. Data is related to site assignments, right? Select import supplier site assignments as an import process name and select file from here. So Google site assignment. Submit. So take some time. Wait. So now we can see the process is completed. That means data is populated in the interface. So now we can refresh the navigation. We can submit the import process to populate the data from interface to base tables. The process name, job name should be import supplier site assignments. Done. Now we can go and find the site as assigned to specific selected view. Go to suppliers. So manage suppliers. Click on edit. Go to site assignments. Here you can see site. This site is assigned to this business unit. So this is how just we can load the suppliers data. Just for our testing, we loaded one supplier. We know like will be bulk volume of supplier records we load when you do the data conversion. To make sure that the supplier is coming in the invoice workbench, that means the proper definition is loaded. We'll just go to invoice workbench. We'll check whether the supplier is we are able to find from invoice workbench or not. Done. We're able to see the same supplier which we loaded from spreadsheet to application, and site is defaulting, everything is fine. Done. So site level we didn't provide any default currencies, so that's the reason currency is not coming. That's all. So that's all about supplier load process. In tomorrow's session we'll see how to load the open invoices, and after completing that we'll go the rest of concepts in the sequence as I mentioned in the sheet or course curriculum. So any questions from today's session, please? Any questions from anyone, please?